What is something unique you loved at a wedding? Story 1. When my buddy Dave married his high school sweetheart Amanda, they had this incredible thing called a wish tree at their wedding. I'd never seen anything like it before, and it added such a special touch to the whole event. The ceremony was held at this beautiful outdoor venue, with a large oak tree right in the middle of the space. After they exchanged vows and we all cheered, Amanda's sister, who was the maid of honor, grabbed a microphone and told us about the wish tree. Everyone, she began. Instead of a traditional guest book, Dave and Amanda have set up a wish tree. You'll find little tags on the tables. Write your wishes, advice, or messages for the couple and hang them on the tree. It will be a beautiful keepsake for them. I thought it was a fantastic idea. Throughout the reception, people wrote their messages and hung them on the tree. Some tags were heartfelt, like, "May your love grow stronger each day," while others were more humorous, like, "Remember to put the toilet seat down, Dave." At one point, I walked over to the tree and saw Amanda's grandmother tying a tag. She looked up, smiled, and said, "I wish them a lifetime of happiness and plenty of great-grandchildren." As the evening went on, the tree filled up with these beautiful, fluttering tags. It became a central part of the celebration, a symbol of all the love and support surrounding Dave and Amanda. After the wedding, Amanda told me they had taken the tags and made a scrapbook out of it. "It's so special to read through everyone's wishes and advice," she said. "It's like we have a little piece of each guest with us forever." The wish tree was such a unique and meaningful addition to their wedding. It brought everyone together and created lasting memories, not just for Dave and Amanda, but for all of us who got to be a part of it. Story 2. One of the coolest things I ever experienced at a wedding was the interactive photo booth at my friend Laura's wedding. Laura and her husband, Mark, are both photographers, so it made sense they'd put a unique spin on wedding photos. The ceremony was held at a charming vineyard, and the reception was in a large, beautifully decorated barn. After dinner, Laura's brother announced that the photo booth was open and encouraged everyone to check it out. This wasn't your average photo booth with silly props. No, this one had an entire setup that included backdrops, costumes, and props that matched the theme of the wedding. There was a vintage suitcase filled with hats, glasses, and accessories, and a whole area with a rustic backdrop and vintage furniture. As I walked over, I saw Laura's uncle, wearing a giant top hat and fake mustache, posing with his wife, who was decked out in a feather boa and oversized sunglasses. They were laughing hysterically, and it was contagious. I grabbed a friend, and we decided to join in the fun. We picked out some props, and the photographer running the booth helped us pose. There were costumes for everything from 1920s flappers to old-timey sheriffs. We spent a good half hour just taking goofy pictures and having a blast. What made it even better was that the photos were printed on the spot and added to a scrapbook for Laura and Mark. We could write messages next to our photos, creating a fun and personal guest book. "Hey, check this out," I said, showing my wife a picture of us dressed as a cowboy and a saloon girl. "We look ridiculous." "That's the point," she laughed, pinning the photo onto the scrapbook page and writing, "Wishing you a lifetime of laughter and love." By the end of the night, the scrapbook was filled with hilarious, sweet, and memorable photos. It was such a fun and unique way to capture the spirit of the day and include everyone in creating something special. Laura and Mark's interactive photo booth was a hit, and it added a playful and personal touch to their wedding that everyone loved. Story 3. At my cousin Megan's wedding, the standout feature was definitely the surprise fireworks display. The whole event was magical, but those fireworks really took it to the next level. Megan and her husband, James, got married at this gorgeous lakeside venue. The ceremony was held in the late afternoon, and as the sun set, the whole place was bathed in this beautiful golden light. After the ceremony, we moved to a large tent for the reception. The food was amazing, the music was great, and everyone was having a fantastic time. Around 9 p.m., just when the party was in full swing, Megan's dad grabbed the mic and announced that there was a special surprise outside. We all gathered by the lake, wondering what it could be. Megan looked genuinely surprised, which made it even more exciting. As we stood there, the first firework shot up into the sky and exploded in a burst of color. Megan gasped, and James put his arm around her. The fireworks kept coming, lighting up the night sky in a spectacular display. Everyone was cheering and clapping, and it felt like a scene out of a movie. Standing there, with the reflection of the fireworks on the lake and the sound of laughter and awe from the guests, I felt this incredible sense of joy. It was one of those moments where you realize how lucky you are to be sharing in someone's happiness. "Megan, did you know about this?" I asked, turning to her as another firework exploded overhead. "No idea," she replied, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "James and my dad planned it. Isn't it amazing?" "It's perfect," I said, smiling at the sight of the newlyweds illuminated by the fireworks. The display lasted for about 10 minutes, and it was the perfect way to cap off the evening. As the final firework lit up the sky, everyone applauded and cheered, and Meghan and James shared a kiss. It was such a beautiful and unique addition to their wedding. The surprise fireworks were the highlight of the night and left a lasting impression on everyone who was there. It was a stunning, romantic, and joyful moment that perfectly captured the spirit of Meghan and James's wedding day. Story 4. One of the most unique weddings I've ever attended had a theme of a night at the movies. My college friend Rick and his wife Sophie are huge film buffs, and they decided to incorporate their love for cinema into their special day. The ceremony was held at an old movie theater that had been restored to its former glory. Walking into the venue felt like stepping back in time, with the red velvet curtains, vintage popcorn machines, and classic movie posters adorning the walls. The aisle was lined with film reels and clapperboards, and the whole place had this glamorous Hollywood vibe. After they exchanged vows, we moved to the reception area, which was set up like an awards show. There were tables named after famous movies, and each place setting had a small ticket with the guest's name and table number. The centerpieces were made of film strips and mini Oscars, and the whole atmosphere was just fun and whimsical. But the highlight of the night was the mini film festival Rick and Sophie had put together. Instead of the usual wedding slideshow, they showed a series of short films they had made with their friends and family. Each film was a spoof of a different movie genre, starring the couple and their loved ones. The first film was a romantic comedy about how they met, complete with cheesy dialogue and over-the-top romantic gestures. The next was a mockumentary about their wedding planning, featuring hilarious interviews with their parents and friends. There was even a superhero short where Rick and Sophie donned capes and masks to save the day. The films were funny, touching, and incredibly well made. It was clear that a lot of effort and love had gone into creating them. As we watched, the room was filled with laughter and applause. "You guys are amazing," I said to Rick during a break between films. "These are hilarious." "Thanks, man," he replied, grinning. "We wanted to do something different and make everyone laugh." "Well, mission accomplished," I said, raising my glass. The final film of the night was a heartfelt montage of messages from their friends and family, wishing them a lifetime of happiness. It was the perfect way to end the evening, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house. Rick and Sophie's night at the movies wedding was a true reflection of their personalities and their love for each other. It was creative, entertaining, and incredibly fun, making it one of the most unique and memorable weddings I've ever been to. Story 5. The most unique thing I ever saw at a wedding was a live painting. My friend Sarah and her husband, Jake, had a local artist come and paint a scene from their wedding in real time. It was such a beautiful and creative touch that added a whole new level of magic to the day. The ceremony was held at this stunning botanical garden, with lush greenery and vibrant flowers all around. As Sarah walked down the aisle, I noticed the artist, an older gentleman with a kind face and a beret, standing off to the side with his easel and paints. Throughout the ceremony, he quietly worked on his canvas, capturing the scene in front of him. At first, it was just a blur of colors and shapes, but as the ceremony progressed, the painting began to take form. You could see the outline of the garden, the guests, and most importantly, Sarah and Jake standing at the altar. After the ceremony, during the cocktail hour, guests gathered around the artist to watch him work. It was fascinating to see the painting come to life, stroke by stroke. Sarah and Jake joined us, clearly delighted by the progress. "This is incredible," Sarah said, her eyes wide with wonder. "Thank you so much for doing this." "It's my pleasure," the artist replied, smiling warmly. "I hope this will be a beautiful memory for you both." As the reception continued, the artist kept painting, adding more details and capturing the joyous atmosphere of the celebration. By the time dinner was served, the painting was nearly complete, and it was absolutely stunning. The garden, the guests, and the newlyweds were all beautifully rendered on the canvas. After dinner, the artist unveiled the finished painting, and everyone gathered around to see it. There were gasps of admiration and applause as Sarah and Jake took it all in. "This is amazing," Jake said, putting his arm around Sarah. "We'll treasure this forever." The live painting added a unique and artistic touch to their wedding. It was a beautiful way to capture the essence of the day, and it gave everyone a special memory to take home. Seeing the scene come to life on canvas was like watching a moment in time being preserved forever. Sarah and Jake's live painting was a highlight of their wedding, and it made their celebration even more magical and memorable. It was a perfect blend of art and love, and it left a lasting impression on everyone who was there. Story 6. One of the most unique and touching things I saw at a wedding was a memory table, set up by my friend Tom and his wife Lisa. The table was dedicated to honoring the loved ones who had passed away and couldn't be there to share in their special day. The wedding took place in a beautiful old church with tall stained glass windows and a grand wooden altar. As we entered the reception hall, my attention was immediately drawn to a small table covered in a delicate lace cloth. On it were framed photographs, candles, and small mementos. Above the table hung a sign that read, "In loving memory." Each photograph was accompanied by a little card that told a story about the person in the picture. There were pictures of grandparents, uncles, aunts, and even a childhood friend. The cards shared anecdotes and cherished memories, like how Lisa's grandmother always baked the best apple pies, or how Tom's uncle taught him to fish. I wandered over to the table and saw Lisa standing nearby, gently touching one of the frames. "This is beautiful, Lisa," I said, admiring the thoughtfulness of it all. "Thank you," she replied, smiling softly. "We wanted to include our loved ones who couldn't be here. They've been such an important part of our lives." Throughout the evening, guests would pause at the table, sharing stories and remembering those who had passed. It created a sense of connection and warmth, bridging the gap between the past and the present. At one point, Tom's mother stood by the table, tears in her eyes, as she told a story about Tom's father to a group of friends. The memory table was a poignant reminder of the importance of family and the lasting impact of those we love. It brought a depth of emotion to the celebration and allowed everyone to feel the presence of those who had gone before. Later, during the speeches, Tom took a moment to acknowledge the memory table. "We wouldn't be here today without the love and support of our families," he said, his voice wavering slightly. "This table is our way of honoring them and keeping their spirits with us." The memory table was a unique and heartfelt addition to Tom and Lisa's wedding. It added a layer of meaning and sentiment that resonated with everyone there, making the day even more special and memorable. Story 7. At my friend Matt and his wife Emily's wedding, the unique touch was a build-your-own bouquet station. It was such a creative and interactive idea that brought a lot of fun and personalization to their special day. The wedding was held at a charming farmhouse with a sprawling garden. As we entered the reception area, I noticed a long table set up with buckets of fresh flowers in every color imaginable. There were roses, daisies, tulips, sunflowers, and more, along with greenery and ribbons. Emily's sister, who was the maid of honor, made an announcement. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special treat for you. Instead of traditional centerpieces, we have a build-your-own bouquet station. Feel free to create your own bouquet to take home or give to someone special." Guests were immediately drawn to the station. It was a fantastic icebreaker, and soon everyone was gathered around, picking out flowers and arranging their bouquets. There were scissors, vases, and even little tags where we could write messages. I grabbed a vase and started selecting flowers, trying to create a balanced arrangement. "What do you think of this?" I asked, showing my creation to Matt's mom. "That's lovely," she exclaimed, adding a sprig of lavender to my vase. "Here, this will add a nice touch." It was a wonderful bonding experience, chatting and laughing with other guests while we worked on our bouquets. The air was filled with the sweet scent of fresh flowers, and the table buzzed with excitement and creativity. As the evening went on, the bouquets became a focal point of the celebration. People proudly displayed their creations on the tables, and it added a personal touch to the decor. Later, Emily and Matt walked around, admiring the bouquets and thanking everyone for participating. "This was such a great idea," I told Emily, who was beaming with happiness. "It's so unique and fun." "I'm glad you like it," she replied. "We wanted to do something different and give everyone a little piece of our day to take home." At the end of the night, we were all encouraged to take our bouquets with us. It was a beautiful and personal memento of the wedding, something that would remind us of the special day every time we looked at it. The build-your-own bouquet station was a unique and delightful addition to Matt and Emily's wedding. It brought people together, allowed for creativity, and gave everyone a special keepsake to remember the day by. Story 8. One of the most unforgettable things I experienced at a wedding was a live band karaoke. My high school friend Steve and his bride Jessica wanted their reception to be a blast, and they definitely succeeded with this unique idea. The wedding was held at a swanky downtown loft with exposed brick walls and twinkling lights. After the dinner and speeches, the DJ announced that the live band karaoke was about to start. At first, I was a bit skeptical. Karaoke can be hit or miss. But when the band took the stage, I was blown away. They were amazing musicians, ready to back up anyone brave enough to grab the mic. Jessica's maid of honor kicked things off with a spirited rendition of "I Will Survive." She had the whole room cheering and dancing. Next up was Steve's cousin, who belted out "Sweet Child O' Mine" with surprising accuracy. The band played flawlessly, and the energy in the room was electric. "Come on, you've got to sing something," Steve said, nudging me towards the stage. "No way, I'm terrible," I laughed, trying to resist. "Everyone's terrible, that's the fun of it," he insisted, pushing me gently. Eventually, I gave in and signed up to sing "Livin' on a Prayer." As I took the stage, the band gave me an encouraging nod. And when the first chords started, the crowd went wild. I belted out the lyrics, probably off-key and way too loud. But it didn't matter. Everyone was singing along, dancing, and having the time of their lives. Throughout the night, more and more guests took the stage. Some were surprisingly good, while others were hilariously bad, but it didn't matter. The live band made everyone sound like a rock star, and the crowd was incredibly supportive. There were duets, group performances, and even a couple of impromptu dance-offs. One of the highlights was when Steve and Jessica took the stage together to sing Don't Stop Believing. Their voices weren't perfect, but the joy and love they radiated made it a magical moment. The entire room sang along, creating an unforgettable atmosphere of celebration and fun. By the end of the night, everyone was hoarse from singing and laughing, but the energy never waned. The live band karaoke brought the party to life in a way I'd never seen before. It was a unique and engaging way to involve everyone and create memories that would last a lifetime. Steve and Jessica's live band karaoke was a brilliant and unforgettable addition to their wedding. It was the perfect mix of fun, laughter, and celebration, making it a night to remember for all who were there. Story 9. One of the most unique and heartfelt things I experienced at a wedding was a Circle of Love ceremony. My friend, Rachel, and her husband, Paul, wanted their wedding to be an intimate and inclusive celebration, and this ceremony was the perfect way to achieve that. The wedding was held at a beautiful seaside resort, with the ceremony taking place on a bluff overlooking the ocean. As we arrived, we noticed that the chairs were arranged in a large circle, with Rachel and Paul standing in the center. The officiant welcomed everyone and explained the concept of the Circle of Love. Rachel and Paul have asked each of you to share a brief word, a memory, or a blessing as they begin their journey together, the officiant said. We will pass around a special stone, and when it reaches you, please share your thoughts with the couple. At first, I was a bit nervous about speaking in front of everyone, but as the ceremony began, the atmosphere was so warm and supportive that my nerves quickly disappeared. The stone started with Rachel's parents, who shared a beautiful blessing and a few funny anecdotes from her childhood. As the stone made its way around the circle, each person took a moment to speak from the heart. When the stone reached me, I took a deep breath and smiled at Rachel and Paul. I've known Rachel since college, and she's always been the most kind-hearted and genuine person I know. I began. Paul, you're a lucky guy, and I can see how happy you make her. I wish you both a lifetime of love and laughter. Rachel wiped away a tear and mouthed, Thank you. I handed the stone to the next person, feeling a deep sense of connection and gratitude. The Circle of Love ceremony continued, with each person adding their unique voice to the tapestry of love and support surrounding Rachel and Paul. There were tears, laughter, and moments of profound reflection. By the time the stone had completed its journey around the circle, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. After the ceremony, Rachel and Paul thanked everyone for their heartfelt words. We feel so blessed to have all of you in our lives, Rachel said. Your love and support mean the world to us. The Circle of Love ceremony was a deeply moving and unique addition to Rachel and Paul's wedding. It created an intimate and inclusive atmosphere, allowing everyone to share in the joy and celebration of their union. It was a beautiful reminder of the power of love and community, and it made their wedding truly unforgettable. Story 10. One of the most unique and unexpected things I loved at a wedding was the silent disco at my friend Jenny's wedding. Jenny and her husband, Mike, are big music lovers, and they wanted to find a way to have an epic dance party without disturbing the neighbors at their outdoor venue. The wedding took place at a lovely countryside estate, with the ceremony under a big oak tree and the reception in a large tent nearby. After dinner and speeches, Jenny's brother, who was the DJ for the night, announced that it was time to put on our headphones. At first I was confused. Headphones at a wedding? But then I saw everyone grabbing a pair of wireless headphones from a table. There were 3 different channels to choose from, each with its own DJ spinning different genres of music. The headphones lit up in different colors depending on the channel you were listening to, blue, green, or red. As soon as I put on the headphones, I was blown away. The sound quality was amazing, and it felt like I was in my own private concert. I looked around and saw people dancing to different beats, switching channels, and having a blast. It was surreal and incredibly fun. Hey, what are you listening to? I asked my friend Mark, who had his headphones on. Some classic rock, he replied, showing me his blue-lit headphones. What about you? I'm on the pop channel, I said, switching over to blue so we could dance to the same music. The silent disco was a huge hit. People were dancing, singing along, and laughing as they switched between channels. It was like having 3 different dance parties in one, and it created such a unique and energetic atmosphere. At one point, I took off my headphones to grab a drink and was struck by how quiet the tent was. Without the music in my ears, I could hear people talking, laughing, and even the sound of crickets outside. It was such a contrast to the lively party happening in the headphones. Jenny and Mike made their rounds, dancing with guests and enjoying the silent disco. This is amazing, I told Jenny as we danced to a classic 80s hit. Isn't it great? She replied, grinning. We wanted something different, and it's turned out even better than we imagined. The silent disco went on late into the night, and it never lost its energy. People kept dancing, switching channels, and enjoying the unique experience. It was the perfect solution for an outdoor venue with noise restrictions, and it made Jenny and Mike's wedding unforgettable. The silent disco was a brilliant and unexpected addition to their wedding. It created a fun, energetic, and unique atmosphere that kept everyone dancing and celebrating all night long. It was a night to remember and a testament to Jenny and Mike's creativity and love for music. Story 11. One of the most unique and heartwarming things I've ever seen at a wedding was at my friend Tom and Katie's celebration. Instead of a traditional guest book, they had a quilt station. It was such a beautiful way to capture memories and well wishes from their guests. The wedding was held at a cozy bed and breakfast with a beautiful garden. After the ceremony, we moved to the reception area, where I noticed a long table covered with squares of fabric, fabric markers, and sewing supplies. There was also a sign that explained the idea. Each guest was to decorate a fabric square with a message, drawing, or both. Later, Tom and Katie would sew all the squares together into a quilt. I thought it was a fantastic idea. As I approached the table, I saw people getting creative, drawing little pictures, writing quotes, and leaving heartfelt messages. There was even a small stack of embroidery threads and needles for those who wanted to add a more personal touch with some simple stitching. I picked up a fabric marker and a square and started drawing a little picture of a mountain with a sunset, something that reminded me of a hiking trip I had taken with Tom and Katie years ago. Beneath the drawing, I wrote, "Wishing you many more beautiful sunsets together." As the evening went on, the quilt squares became a popular activity. Guests of all ages gathered around, sharing markers and ideas, and it became a wonderful conversation starter. Tom's grandmother, who was an avid quilter, sat with a group of children, teaching them how to make simple stitches. "This is such a great idea," I said to Katie when she came over to check on our progress. "Thanks. We wanted something that everyone could be a part of, and this felt perfect," she replied, her eyes shining with happiness. "Plus, it's a great way to have a piece of everyone with us always." After the wedding, Tom and Katie took the squares home and spent the next few weeks sewing them together into a beautiful quilt. When they finally unveiled it at a small gathering of close friends and family, it was truly a work of art. Each square told a story, and the quilt as a whole was a testament to the love and support surrounding them. The quilt station was a unique and touching addition to Tom and Katie's wedding. It created a tangible, lasting memento that they could cherish for years to come, and it brought everyone together in a special way. It was a beautiful blend of creativity, community, and love. Story 12. At my cousin Mike's wedding, the standout feature was a unique twist on the traditional wedding cake. They had a cake parade. It was one of the most fun and memorable parts of the entire day. Mike and his wife, Laura, decided to forego a single large wedding cake and instead opted for a variety of smaller cakes, each one made by a different family member or friend. There were all sorts of cakes, from classic chocolate and vanilla to exotic flavors like lavender lemon and matcha green tea. Each cake was beautifully decorated and placed on a long table at the reception. After the dinner and speeches, Laura's father took the microphone and announced the start of the cake parade. "Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the sweetest part of the evening. It's time for the cake parade." The DJ started playing a lively tune, and one by one, the cake bakers proudly carried their creations around the reception hall, showing them off to the guests. The atmosphere was festive and lighthearted, with everyone clapping and cheering as each cake made its debut. "Look at that one," I said to my friend Jack as a stunning three-tiered red velvet cake adorned with fresh flowers was paraded past us. "I think I made the right decision to save room for dessert," Jack replied, eyes wide with excitement. Once all the cakes had been showcased, the parade ended with Mike and Laura cutting a slice from each one, symbolizing the unity and variety of their community. Then the cakes were sliced and served to the guests. Walking around, trying different cakes and chatting with the bakers about their creations was a delightful experience. Each cake had a story behind it, and it was a great way to learn more about the people in Mike and Laura's lives. "This lavender lemon cake is incredible," I said to Laura's aunt who had baked it. "What's your secret?" "Lots of love and a little extra lemon zest," she replied with a wink. The cake parade added a unique and joyful element to Mike and Laura's wedding. It was a celebration of their community, with each cake representing a piece of their shared journey. It brought everyone together in a fun and delicious way, making the wedding truly unforgettable. Story 13. One of the most creative things I've ever seen at a wedding was a time capsule activity. My friends, Emily and Jake, came up with this brilliant idea to capture memories and well wishes that they could look back on years later. The wedding took place at a lovely lakeside cabin, with the ceremony held outdoors under a canopy of trees. After the ceremony, we moved to the reception area, where I noticed a beautifully decorated wooden box and a table full of stationery, pens, and small trinkets. Emily's brother, who was the best man, explained the time capsule. "Everyone, we'd like you to write a note to Emily and Jake, or bring a small item that represents today. We'll seal everything in this time capsule, and they'll open it on their 10th anniversary." I thought it was an incredible idea. Throughout the evening, guests wrote heartfelt messages, drew pictures, and added little keepsakes to the box. Some people brought photos, while others added small souvenirs from the day, like dried flowers from the ceremony or even a copy of the wedding program. I decided to write a note to Emily and Jake, reminiscing about our college days and how their love had grown over the years. May your journey together be as wonderful as your wedding day, I wrote. I folded the note and placed it in the box, feeling a sense of nostalgia and excitement for the future. As the night went on, the time capsule became a focal point of the celebration. Guests gathered around the table, sharing memories and talking about what they were adding to the box. It created a sense of connection and anticipation, knowing that all these memories would be revisited in the future. This is such a great idea, I said to Emily as she joined me at the table. I can't wait for you guys to open it. Me too, she replied, her eyes sparkling with joy. It's like we're saving a piece of today for our future selves. At the end of the night, Jake's dad sealed the box with a small padlock and handed the key to Emily and Jake. Here's to many happy years ahead, he said, raising a toast. The time capsule was a unique and touching addition to Emily and Jake's wedding. It captured the love and memories of the day in a way that they could cherish for years to come. It was a beautiful reminder of the importance of savoring the moment and looking forward to the future. Story 14. One of the most unique things I've ever loved at a wedding was the puppy petting station at my friend Jessica's wedding. Jessica and her husband Brian are huge dog lovers and wanted to incorporate their love for animals into their special day. The wedding was held at a beautiful country estate, with the ceremony taking place in a charming garden. After the ceremony, we moved to the reception area, where I noticed a fenced-off section with a sign that read, "Puppy petting station, take a break and snuggle a pup." I was intrigued and immediately headed over. Inside the fenced area were several adorable puppies of various breeds, all happily wagging their tails and eager for attention. There were handlers making sure everything was safe and organized, and guests were encouraged to take turns petting and playing with the puppies. As I approached, one of the handlers handed me a small, fluffy golden retriever puppy. "His name is Charlie," she said with a smile. I couldn't believe how soft and warm he was. I sat down on a bench, and Charlie snuggled into my lap, looking up at me with those big, innocent eyes. It was pure bliss. All around me, guests were laughing, smiling, and taking photos with the puppies. "This is amazing," I said to Jessica when she came over to check on us. "Whose idea was this?" "Brian's," she replied, grinning. "We wanted something fun and relaxing for everyone, and who doesn't love puppies?" The puppy petting station was a huge hit. Guests of all ages enjoyed the chance to cuddle and play with the puppies, and it added a lighthearted and joyful element to the day. It was also a great way to take a break from the hustle and bustle of the wedding and just enjoy a moment of pure happiness. At one point, I saw Jessica's grandmother sitting in a rocking chair with a tiny dachshund puppy in her lap. She looked so content, gently stroking the puppy's fur and chatting with other guests. Later in the evening, the handlers explained that all the puppies were from a local animal shelter and were available for adoption. It was a wonderful way to raise awareness and support for the shelter, and I heard that several guests ended up adopting puppies after the wedding. The puppy petting station was a unique and delightful addition to Jessica and Brian's wedding. It brought so much joy and warmth to the day, creating unforgettable memories for everyone involved. It was a perfect reflection of their love for animals and their desire to share that love with their friends and family. Story 15. One of the most unique and enchanting things I've ever seen at a wedding was a lantern release. My friend Megan and her husband Ryan decided to end their wedding with this beautiful and symbolic gesture, and it was truly magical. The wedding took place at a picturesque vineyard, with the ceremony held at sunset. After a delicious dinner and lively dancing, Megan's maid of honor announced that it was time for the lantern release. She explained that each guest would get a paper lantern to light and release into the night sky, symbolizing love, hope, and new beginnings. We all gathered outside, where tables were set up with unlit lanterns and markers. Megan and Ryan encouraged everyone to write a wish or a message on their lantern before releasing it. It was a lovely and personal touch that added meaning to the event. I took a marker and carefully wrote my wish for Megan and Ryan. "May your love shine bright and guide you always." I saw others writing messages of love, encouragement, and congratulations. There was a sense of quiet reflection as we all prepared our lanterns. Once everyone was ready, the vineyard staff helped us light the lantern. It took a bit of patience and coordination, but soon we were all holding glowing paper lanterns, ready to release them into the sky. "Are you ready?" Ryan asked Megan, holding her hand as they stood with their lantern. "Absolutely," she replied, smiling up at him. On the count of 3, we all released our lanterns. The sight was breathtaking. Hundreds of glowing lanterns floated up into the dark sky, gently swaying in the breeze. It felt like we were part of a fairy tale, watching the lanterns rise higher and higher until they became tiny points of light, blending with the stars. The vineyard was filled with gasps of awe and wonder. It was a moment of pure beauty and tranquility, a perfect end to an incredible day. I stood there arm in arm with friends and family, feeling a deep sense of connection and joy. "This is amazing," I said to Megan as we watched the last of the lanterns disappear into the night. "Thank you for being here," she replied, hugging me tightly. "It means the world to us." The lantern release was a unique and unforgettable addition to Megan and Ryan's wedding. It created a sense of unity and shared experience, allowing everyone to participate in a beautiful and meaningful gesture. It was a magical moment that we would all carry with us, a symbol of love and hope lighting up the night sky. Story 16. One of the most unique things I experienced at a wedding was a DIY s'mores station at my friend Abby and her husband, Tom's wedding. It was such a cozy and fun addition to their outdoor celebration. The wedding took place at a charming farm with a large barn and a beautiful open field. After the ceremony, we moved to the reception area, where I noticed a couple of fire pits surrounded by comfortable seating. There was a table set up with all the s'mores fixings, graham crackers, marshmallows, chocolate bars, and even some creative extras like peanut butter cups and strawberries. As the sun set and the evening grew cooler, the fire pits were lit, and Abby's sister, who was the maid of honor, made an announcement. "Everyone, feel free to make your way over to the s'mores station and enjoy a sweet treat." I was immediately drawn to the idea. I grabbed a skewer and joined a group of friends around one of the fire pits. The atmosphere was relaxed and inviting, with people chatting, laughing, and toasting marshmallows. It felt like a delightful campfire, but with the added joy of celebrating Abby and Tom's special day. "Pass me a marshmallow, would you?" I asked my friend Mike, who was already expertly toasting his. "Here you go," he said, handing me a perfectly golden brown marshmallow. "This is the life, huh?" "Absolutely," I replied, carefully assembling my s'more and taking a bite. "This is such a great idea." Throughout the evening, the s'mores station became a popular hangout spot. Guests of all ages gathered around the fire pits, creating their own unique s'mores combinations and sharing stories. It was a wonderful way to bring everyone together and add a personal touch to the wedding. Later in the evening, Abby and Tom joined us by the fire. "We wanted to do something different," Tom said as he toasted a marshmallow. "Something that would make everyone feel at home." "Well, you nailed it," I said, raising my s'more in a toast. "This is fantastic." As the night went on, the fire pits provided warmth and light, creating a cozy and intimate atmosphere. It was a perfect contrast to the lively dancing and celebration happening inside the barn. The s'mores station added a sense of nostalgia and comfort, reminding us all of simple pleasures and cherished moments. The DIY s'mores station was a unique and delightful addition to Abby and Tom's wedding. It brought people together, created lasting memories, and added a touch of warmth and sweetness to their special day. Story 17. One of the most unique and creative things I've ever seen at a wedding was a live artist painting the ceremony in real time. My friends Anna and John wanted to capture their special day in a way that was both artistic and memorable, and they succeeded brilliantly. The wedding took place at a picturesque park with a charming gazebo for the ceremony. As guests arrived, we noticed a woman setting up an easel and canvas off to the side. She had her paints and brushes ready, and it quickly became apparent that she would be painting the ceremony as it happened. As Anna walked down the aisle, the artist began her work, capturing the beauty and emotion of the moment. Throughout the ceremony, she painted with quick, sure strokes, creating a stunning representation of the scene unfolding before her. After the ceremony, during the cocktail hour, guests gathered around to watch the artist continue her work. It was fascinating to see the painting come to life, with the gazebo, the happy couple, and the guests all depicted in vibrant color. The artist's skill was truly impressive, and it added an extra layer of magic to the day. "This is incredible," I said to Anna, who was watching the artist with awe. "What a beautiful way to capture your wedding." "We thought it would be a unique keepsake," she replied, smiling. "Something we can hang in our home and remember this day forever." As the reception continued, the artist moved to the reception area and continued painting, adding details of the festivities. By the end of the evening, she had created a beautiful and detailed work of art that perfectly captured the essence of the day. During the speeches, John took a moment to acknowledge the artist. "We want to thank our talented artist for this amazing gift," he said, raising a glass. "This painting will be a cherished memory of our special day." The live painting was a unique and memorable addition to Anna and John's wedding. It created a beautiful piece of art that would forever remind them of their love and the joy of their wedding day. It was a perfect blend of creativity, emotion, and celebration, making the day even more special. Story 18. One of the most unique things I've ever loved at a wedding was the book exchange at my friend Clara and her husband, Ben's wedding. Both of them are avid readers, and they wanted to share their love of books with their guests in a fun and meaningful way. The wedding took place at a charming library, with the ceremony held in a beautiful reading room lined with shelves of books. After the ceremony, we moved to the reception area, where I noticed a large table filled with wrapped books. There was a sign that read, "Take a book, leave a book exchange." The idea was simple. Each guest was invited to bring a wrapped book to exchange with others. The books could be new, used, or even a favorite from their own collection. Guests wrote a brief note or a quote on the inside cover, explaining why they chose that particular book. I had brought a copy of To Kill a Mockingbird, one of my all-time favorites. I wrapped it in colorful paper and wrote a note inside. "This book has always inspired me to stand up for what's right. I hope it brings you as much joy and wisdom as it has brought me." As the evening went on, guests browsed the table, reading the notes and choosing books to take home. It was a wonderful way to share stories and connect with each other. I ended up picking a beautifully wrapped book with a note that read, "This book made me laugh out loud and warmed my heart. Enjoy!" Throughout the night, the book exchange became a popular topic of conversation. Guests shared their favorite books, discussed the ones they had chosen, and even recommended other titles. It was a fantastic icebreaker and added a personal touch to the celebration. "Clara, this is such a great idea," I said, holding up my new book. "I love it." "We thought it would be a fun way to share something we love," Clara replied, smiling. "And it's a great way to get to know each other better." The book exchange was a unique and thoughtful addition to Clara and Ben's wedding. It brought people together, created lasting connections, and allowed everyone to take home a special memento from the day. It was a beautiful reflection of their love for books and their desire to share that love with their friends and family. Story 19. One of the most unique and heartfelt things I've ever experienced at a wedding was a community vow ceremony. My friend Rachel and her husband Mark wanted to involve their guests in their special day in a meaningful way, and this ceremony was the perfect way to do it. The wedding took place at a lovely vineyard, with the ceremony held under a large oak tree. After Rachel and Mark exchanged their personal vows, the officiant invited the guests to participate in the community vow ceremony. "Friends and family," the officiant began, "Rachel and Mark would like to ask for your support as they begin their journey together. Please join me in making a vow to help them nurture and strengthen their marriage." The officiant led us through a series of vows, asking us to promise to offer love, support, and encouragement to Rachel and Mark throughout their lives. We all repeated the vows together, creating a powerful and emotional moment of unity and commitment. As we recited the vows, I looked around and saw tears in many eyes, including my own. It was incredibly moving to be part of such a collective expression of love and support. Rachel and Mark stood hand in hand, their faces filled with gratitude and joy. After the ceremony, during the reception, Rachel's mom came up to me and said, "Wasn't that beautiful? It really felt like we were all part of something special." "It was amazing," I agreed. "I've never been part of a wedding ceremony like that before. It really brought everyone together." Throughout the evening, guests continued to talk about the community vow ceremony. It had created a deep sense of connection and shared responsibility, making us all feel like an integral part of Rachel and Mark's journey. Later in the evening, Rachel and Mark took a moment to thank everyone. "Your love and support mean the world to us," Rachel said, her voice filled with emotion. "We couldn't ask for a better community to share our lives with." The community vows ceremony was a unique and deeply meaningful addition to Rachel and Mark's wedding. It created a strong sense of unity and commitment, reminding us all of the importance of supporting and nurturing each other's relationship. It was a beautiful and unforgettable experience that brought everyone closer together. Story 20. One of the most unique things I loved at a wedding was the family recipe potluck at my friend Emily and her husband, Jack's wedding. They wanted their reception to feel like a big family gathering, and this idea was the perfect way to achieve that. The wedding took place at a quaint country house with a large backyard. After the ceremony, we moved to the reception area, where I noticed several long tables filled with dishes covered in foil and labeled with names. There was a sign that read, "Family Recipe Potluck, a Taste of." Story 21. One of the most unique things I ever saw at a wedding was a family recipe potluck at my friend Emily and her husband, Jack's wedding. They wanted their reception to feel like a big family gathering, and this idea was the perfect way to achieve that. The wedding took place at a quaint country house with a large backyard. After the ceremony, we moved to the reception area, where I noticed several long tables filled with dishes covered in foil and labeled with names. There was a sign that read, "Family Recipe Potluck, a Taste of Home." Emily's sister, who was the maid of honor, explained the concept during her speech. "Emily and Jack wanted to share their love of family and food with all of you," she said. "So they asked everyone to bring a dish that's special to their family, along with the recipe." The tables were a feast for the eyes and the stomach. There were casseroles, salads, pies, cakes, and all sorts of delicious homemade dishes. Each dish had a small card next to it with the recipe and a note about its significance. I started with a slice of Jack's grandmother's famous apple pie. The note read, Grandma's apple pie, a family favorite for over 50 years. It was warm, sweet, and tasted like a hug from home. Next, I tried Emily's aunt's lasagna, which came with a note saying, perfected over decades of family dinners. This lasagna is incredible, I said to Emily as I filled my plate. Isn't it? She replied, beaming. It's always been my favorite. As the night went on, guests mingled and shared stories about their dishes. It was a fantastic icebreaker and created a warm, communal atmosphere. People swapped recipes, reminisced about family traditions, and bonded over their love of food. At one point, I found myself talking to Jack's uncle, who had brought a big pot of his famous chili. What's your secret? I asked, savoring the rich, spicy flavor. Lots of patience and a little bit of dark chocolate, he replied with a wink. Later in the evening, Emily and Jack took a moment to thank everyone. We wanted to share our love for family and food with all of you, Emily said, holding Jack's hand. Thank you for bringing a piece of your family to our celebration. The family recipe potluck was a unique and heartwarming addition to Emily and Jack's wedding. It created a sense of togetherness and allowed everyone to contribute to the celebration in a meaningful way. It was a delicious and memorable experience that truly made their wedding feel like a big, happy family gathering. Story 22. One of the most unique and magical things I've ever seen at a wedding was a fairy garden set up for the children attending. My friends Lisa and Ben wanted their wedding to be family-friendly and full of wonder, and this idea was perfect. The wedding took place at a beautiful botanical garden with a ceremony held in a lush, flower-filled area. After the ceremony, we moved to the reception area, where I noticed a small, enchanted-looking space off to the side. There were tiny houses, mushroom stools, and twinkling fairy lights. A sign read, "Welcome to the fairy garden for our young guests." As a parent, I was thrilled. My kids immediately ran over, enchanted by the whimsical setup. There were activity stations with crafts, face painting, and even a storyteller dressed as a fairy who entertained the children with magical tales. This is amazing, I said to Lisa when she came over to check on the garden. The kids are having a blast. We wanted something special for them, Lisa replied, smiling. We know weddings can be long, and we wanted to make sure they had fun too. The fairy garden was a hit. The children were busy painting fairy houses, getting their faces painted with glittery designs, and listening to enchanting stories. It allowed the parents to relax and enjoy the reception, knowing their kids were entertained and happy. My daughter, Mia, came running up to me with her face painted like a butterfly. Mommy, look! I made a fairy house, she said, holding up her creation proudly. That's beautiful, Mia, I said, hugging her. Did you thank the fairy for helping you? Yes, and she told me a story about a brave fairy queen, Mia exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. As the night went on, the fairy garden continued to be a magical haven for the children. They even had a mini fairy feast with kid-friendly snacks and drinks, allowing them to have their own little celebration. Later during the speeches, Ben took a moment to thank everyone for coming and to highlight the fairy garden. We wanted to create a special place for the little ones, he said. We hope they've had as much fun as we have. The fairy garden was a unique and thoughtful addition to Lisa and Ben's wedding. It brought joy and wonder to the children and allowed the adults to enjoy the celebration without worry. It was a magical experience that made the day even more special for everyone involved.